Hi everybody, good morning boys and girls, good morning parents and families. My name is Lisa Gonzalez and I am the Children's Director here at First Church, and I am so glad you are joining us for Sunday school time this morning. And if I am not mistaken, I think school is starting for most of you in just a couple days. So I don't want to forget to wish you guys the best of luck. I know school looks a little bit different this year, but what a great opportunity to learn differently and to try some new things. So have a great school year, okay? Also, families, we are going to have our little blessing of the backpack keychains for you tomorrow and Tuesday. Just swing by the church parking lot from 10 to 12, and we'll have a special little keychain for your kiddo going back to school. So, back to our lesson. This month, we've been talking all about creativity. Boys and girls, we know that creativity is imagining what you could do because you're made in God's image. And God was pretty creative. Last week, we looked at clouds and sunsets and how beautiful those creations were. But today, we're going to talk about two things that was pretty smart that God did. So the first little Jeopardy fact, did you know that dogs' skin is really, really loose, right? Do you know any idea why? Well, dog skin is so loose because if you've ever seen a dog wet and then you've seen him shake off, a dog can dry almost 70% in just a few seconds because his skin is so loose. And that was pretty smart for God to make it like that. Also, another really cool Jeopardy fact. Did you know that butterflies actually have feet? Now, do you know what the butterfly's feet are for? I'll give you a little hint. It's not for walking. That's right. A butterfly's feet actually use their feet to taste their food. Pretty cool, huh? Only God could think of something as creative as that. So since we are made in God's image, right? God created us to be like Him. We can be super creative as well. And I have a fun craft for you in just a minute that will help you think about some things that you might be really creative in. But first, let's dive into today's Bible story. Today, you're going to be hearing all about Esther, and I'm going to let our curriculum share the Bible story with you. Esther was just an ordinary person who went on to become queen and do something pretty cool. So watch this Bible show, and I'll be back in just a minute.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the Book of Esther.
Esther was the queen of Persia.
Wait, what? Queen?
Esther didn't become queen in the usual way. See, her father wasn't a king, and she wasn't from a noble family.
It's just me and cousin Mordecai.
In fact, Esther was Jewish. Many of God's people had been captured and brought to Babylon when their home, Judah, was conquered. Then Babylon was taken over by Persia. So Esther grew up in a land that wasn't her own. When Esther's parents died, her cousin Mordecai raised her as his very own daughter.
Always remember what our scriptures say. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Love Him with all your strength.
One day, a new king named Xerxes came to power in Persia. He was so impulsive that he actually fired his queen, Vashti, simply for refusing to show up at a wild party.
She will never see me again.
When Xerxes had finally calmed down, He had realized he now had no queen.
I have no queen.
He would have to find a new one.
I must find a new one.
So the king decided to hold a contest. He ordered his officials to gather the most beautiful young women in the land and put them through an entire year of beauty treatments. Esther was one of those girls chosen.
Cousin Mordecai, what do I do?
Don't tell anyone you're from a Jewish family.
I have chosen my new queen. Drum roll. My new queen is Esther.
Me?
Assume the queenly royal crown. I might have to resize it.
Just as Xerxes had so impulsively switched queens, he also promoted a royal official named Haman higher than all of the other nobles in the kingdom.
Bow to me, you fools!
Haman was delighted when all of the officials outside the palace bowed low before him. When he discovered that Mordecai refused to bow, he was enraged.
You have to bow! Somebody make him bow!
Haman was so angry. He made a plan to destroy not only Mordecai, but all the Jews in the land. He laid it out for the king.
Your Majesty, these Jews live differently than everyone else. They don't obey your laws.
Fiddlesticks. That's just wrong.
Precisely. Give the order to destroy them.
Consider it done.
Xerxes agreed to the terrible decree. Messengers took the letter all over the kingdom.
Hear ye, hear ye. On the 13th day of the 12th month, all Jews are to be killed. Hear ye, hear ye.
When Mordecai and the other Jews discovered the horrible news, they dressed in rough clothing and wept bitterly. Mordecai sent a message to Esther in the palace, telling her what Haman had done.
You must ask the king to save our people.
Esther was devastated. She sent a response to her cousin.
No one can come before the king unless he sends for them. If I do it, I'll die. Unless he reaches out his gold scepter to me.
Mordecai sent his answer right back.
You may not escape, even though you're queen. Who knows? It's possible that you became queen for just a time like this.
He's right. Here, tell this to Mordecai. Gather all the Jews. Don't eat anything for 3 days. I and my servants will fast too. Then I'll go to the king.
Esther faced an impossible dilemma, but she took 3 days to prepare her heart and her mind.
Bring my most beautiful royal robes.
Heart racing, Esther entered the throne room. Across the long hall, she saw the king seated high on the throne. Breathless, she waited for him to see her.
Please, please, please.
The king looked up, his dark eyes locked on Esther's face. And then he smiled. He reached out his golden scepter.
Thank God.
What is it, Queen Esther? I'll give you anything, up to half my kingdom.
Esther could have made her request right away, but she knew she would have a better chance if she made the king curious.
King Xerxes, if it pleases you, come to a feast I prepared today. Oh, and bring Haman.
Consider it done.
Esther created an elaborate feast for the king and his number 2 official.
Look at me, you peasants, invited to the queen's banquet.
At the meal, King Xerxes once again tried to discover what Esther wanted.
I'll give you anything, up to half my kingdom.
Once again, Esther held her ground and waited for the perfect moment.
I'd like you and Haman to come to another feast tomorrow. Then I'll answer your question.
The king agreed, and Haman spent the whole evening bragging to all of his friends.
You guys, the queen thinks I am the bomb.
But the second feast was a different story. As before, Esther prepared an incredible meal. Both Haman and the king were quick to dig in.
What do you want me to do for you? I'll give you up to half my kingdom.
Esther took a deep breath. Something told her this was the right moment.
Your Majesty, let me live. Please spare my people. We have been sold to be destroyed.
Haman paled and choked on his fillet, but the king's face flushed red with rage.
Who is the man who has dared to do such a thing?
Esther turned her gaze on Haman.
Haman is the one.
In a panic, Haman threw himself at the queen.
Totally didn't mean it. Please, please, please let me live.
You dare attack the queen? Take him away.
That very night, Haman was killed, and the king created a new order that would allow the Jews to be saved.
We will celebrate this day with great joy.
God had given Esther a surprising position in a foreign nation, and when the time was right, she would use all she had been given to save her people.
So Esther wasn't the most likely choice to be queen, but it was definitely in God's plan. And because of Esther, she was able to save a lot of people. An ordinary person doing something really great. And God has a purpose for each one of us too. And you may not know what that purpose is yet, and that's okay. But the best way to think about how you can use your creativity is to know what you're interested in. So our bottom line today is God created you for a purpose. And if you're struggling with what your purpose might be, I think we all struggle with that a little bit, here's a little craft that might be able to help you. So for today's craft, all you need is a blank piece of paper, a glue stick, and if you have some old magazines. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna make a all about me collage. Now raise your hand if you've ever made one of these before. They're very easy. The idea is that you look through magazines and you cut out words and pictures that are about you, right? So that's what I want you to do today. Ask mom or dad for some old magazines and just look through them and find pictures that you think are cute or pictures that you really like or words that like stand out to you and you say, oh, that's me, and just cut them out. Then glue them to your piece of paper like I did here. Once you've had your pictures glued on, now I want you to take a look at what you picked for your collage. And that might help you decide what gifts you can use to help others. So for example, I cut out a kitty on mine. I love cats, right? So maybe I can use my gift of loving cats to help at Humane Society and maybe help volunteer there. I also cut out a picture of a little child who's doing crafts because I love to plan fun crafts for my kids and for you guys too. So I like to use that gift of creativity with you guys to share that I like to do crafts. So maybe that can help you too. So that's my goal for you this week. Cut out, make a collage that's all about you, and then take a minute and see what gifts on it that you can use to help spread the word of Jesus and to help others. Boys and girls, hope you have a great week. My little dog Buddy and I are so excited for school to start. I don't know if my kids are excited, but I am. I hope you guys are too. Don't forget, you can swing by tomorrow or Tuesday to pick up your keychain. Pastor Josias and Pastor Vidalis said a little prayer over those for you guys. We want you to have a really great school year. So let's close in a quick prayer, boys and girls. Dear Jesus, thank you for this wonderful day today. Thank you for the story of Esther and her mighty mission, Lord. Somebody simple who didn't know what her purpose was. You definitely did. We love you, Jesus, and thank you for everything. Amen. Have a great day, boys and girls. I'll see you later.